A busy day on Capitol Hill, as we've said. Lawmakers, including my next guest, heard testimony for some 6 hours from Hillary Clinton confidant Sidney Blumenthal. Blumenthal turned over his emails with Clinton concerning the Benghazi terrorist attack, documents that Clinton herself did not turn over. Joining us tonight, Congressman Jim Jordan, a member of both the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees. He also serves on the Select Committee on Benghazi. Congressman, good to have you with us. This has been an extraordinary session that you've been in today.
Yeah.
Give us your headline thoughts on this one.
Well, a number of things going on. First is this whole trade issue. Look, we're for trade. Trade means opportunity to market and sell your products in expanding marketplaces, but you need to do it right. We think there are certain things that need to be in the legislation before many of us conservatives want to support it. Of course, then there's also the hearing that took place today, the deposition, actually, Mr. Blumenthal in the Benghazi committee. So a number of things going on today, all important to the American taxpayer.
And on Benghazi and Blumenthal, long awaited his testimony and his emails, and are you getting what you expected in those documents?
Well, the interesting news, of course, is that we got more emails from Mr. Blumenthal, 64 more, than what in the State Department. So I think there's some explaining to do from the State Department's perspective. Did you not give them to us, or did Ms. Clinton not give them to the State Department, and therefore you weren't able to give them to us? Important questions that need to be answered, some of the many questions that need to be answered as we're doing the work of the Select Committee.
And this committee, the going has been, to put it as gently as I can, slow. Because we have been engaged in this now for, 2012 was the terrorist attack. The Stonewall has been in effect since, and Congress has yet to break through that. Is possibly this the breakthrough?
Well, it can certainly help. I mean, the truth is we want the information. It's tough to ask all the appropriate questions if you don't have all the appropriate documents, all the information, the complete record. So we have had a subpoena from the Congress to the State Department, now 2 years old, and they've yet to comply with everything. So that's critical. Give us the information. The focus here is to get to the truth. 4 Americans were killed. 4 Americans gave their life serving their country. The American taxpayer deserves the truth, and most importantly, the families of the 4 individuals deserve the truth. So give us the information so we can get there.
And do you see in prospect those answers? Will those families, will the American public be seeing the truth? Will it be revealed in your judgment in this calendar year?
Here's what I know, Lou. The folks on the committee are going to do everything we can to get to the truth. The staff on the committee is doing everything they can to get to the truth. Chairman Gowdy is determined to get to the truth. We're going to do everything we can, but it would sure go quicker. It would sure be more helpful if the State Department would give us the information much faster, much sooner. Frankly, a long time ago, they should have already given it to us. So that's what we need to focus on, and we're trying to do that, but we're going to do everything we can to get to the bottom of it.
And let me just ask you this very quickly. On scandal after scandal, whether it's Fast and Furious, whether it's Benghazi, the IRS, there has not been, as far as I've been able to detect, anything but a stonewall from this administration toward an inquiring Congress representing the people's right to know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been real involved with the IRS scandal, the targeting of conservative groups for exercising their most fundamental right, their First Amendment free speech, political speech rights. And we've had the same treatment from the administration on the IRS scandal, the same thing on Fast and Furious. So you're right. This is the way this administration operates, I think, to the detriment, obviously, of the American people, the American taxpayer, and the people who were harmed, the people who were wronged in the IRS scandal or, obviously, in the Benghazi scandal. It's just the way they operate. I wish they didn't. And, frankly, it's one of the things that scares me most about where the country is today. When you have an administration that won't be transparent, when you have a Justice Department that's more focused on politics than they are on justice, that is a big problem, particularly when you're thinking about the greatest country in the world and what our country is supposed to stand for.
And you mentioned trade, and we have the paradox of your leadership, the Republican leadership in Congress cooperating with the president, that they're suing in court for his abuse of power, seeking to work with that administration to give the president, in effect, more power. An administration that has promised to be open and transparent has been the most secretive. the most restrictive in history. And this leadership of the Republican Party in the House and Senate going along with this president as they keep secret the very legislation that the American people are watching their Congress vote on. How can that be excused?
Well, it's more important, Lou, the American people elected us to do certain things. Let's just focus on what we told them we were going to do when we ran for the job and they elected us last fall. Pew Research has a poll out. 65% of Republican voters think Republicans aren't doing what they said they were going to do because we're not doing what we said we were going to do. So there are free trade conservatives like myself, but we want to do this in a way that's consistent with our principles, consistent with keeping the checks and balances on the executive branch and specifically on this president that the American people demanded we put on him when they elected us last fall. So we've offered an amendment to our leadership to put in the bill that would give greater balance, greater checks on what the president can do as he negotiates these treaties. And so far, we haven't been made in order. We haven't had our amendment accepted. Those are some of the things that we think need to be in the legislation before some conservatives are going to support it.
A frustrated Jim Jordan, one of the good